everybody! If you want to bake bread, you need 3 things. You're going to need some flour, some water, and some yeast. Now, while flour and water provide the structure of your loaf of bread, it's yeast that does the heavy lifting. Literally, it creates the carbon dioxide that aerates your bread, and it creates wonderful flavors. That's because yeast eats flour and it poops out all those exciting flavors. Now, this yeast I bought in a supermarket, and it is dried. These little tiny dried granules, but this is actually alive. And if I put this in some water, it will reactivate. But what if you can't find yeast in the shops? Totally no problem. You can capture wild yeast yourself. All you need to do is create a yeast trap. I'm going to show you how. What you need to do is you need to take a clean jar and put in some flour. I'm going to put in about 100 grams of flour. I'm going to put some on the table as well. There we go. 100 grams of flour, and then the same weight of water, 100 grams. Now all I have to do is mix it together. And I'm done. That's because this wet flour is the perfect environment for the wild yeasts in the flour and in the air to grow and reproduce. This might seem like a bad idea. After all, if I left out wet bread, it would go moldy. But yeast has a defense mechanism against other organisms like mold. It produces tiny amounts of alcohol, which is very poisonous to other critters. Yeast also works in a collaborative way with some helpful bacteria called lactic acid bacteria. And these bacteria produce acid, and that creates, again, a really harmful environment for anything else. And over time, they will work together to create this beautiful symbiosis, a lovely world of sourdough. Sourdough. And that's what I'm going to use as the basis for my bread. Now, this sourdough starter is alive, and that means you need to feed it every day. The way you would do that would be to take out about half of the mixture, create some space, and replace it with more flour and more water. So I usually take out half the mixture and add 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. This is one I prepared earlier. And you can start to see that there are little bubbles on the top. That's the carbon dioxide. This one's ready for another feed. It's getting hungry. And now, it's starting to get a lovely yeasty flavor. I've been working on this one for about a week, so it's almost ready to go. And you'll also start to see tiny bubbles forming, and indeed after you feed it, big bubbles. And that is the yeast producing carbon dioxide you need for your bread. Now, making the actual bread out of this, well, that's probably a whole nother segment. But if you hop online, you'll see lots of great recipes and tips for how to do that. And of course, you can watch this episode again on our website and hit me up on social media if you've got any questions. But I love this science you can eat. It's a great bit of experiment. I'd love to hear how you go. Have fun.